This episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Netflix. Coming up, Martin Scorsese brings us a new family film in 3D with Hugo.
Totally Rad Show.
Today in movies, we have just walked out of the Paramount studio to chat with you about Hugo. Hugo in 3D. It's the next Martin Scorsese movie. I can't even remember the last.
You're supposed to call them pictures.
Yeah. What's the last movie he did? I was actually
Island.
trying to remember that.
The Island one.
Yeah,
Oh, Shutter Island.
Shutter
A couple
Island.
years ago.
Yeah.
His first 3D movie. Martin Scorsese, pioneer of cinema, in a movie about the pioneers of cinema in a
new
pioneering of cinema
venture.
technology.
Yes.
Yes. So Hugo is about a young orphan boy living in a train station who basically goes on an adventure to discover
Yeah, keep going. It's gonna happen.
things.
It's gonna happen.
But you know, it's probably the most fantastical movie that Martin Scorsese has made. But interestingly enough, probably the most personal movie he has made.
yeah.
It seems to be about him and
All his
the
loves,
things that
certainly.
he's interested in, and about the history of movies.
Yeah.
Also based on a book by Brian Selznick, who I can't remember if it's weird that he wasn't related to David O. Selznick or was related to David O. Selznick, but
Well, he's either related or not related.
Yeah.
Those are
And
the-
it's weird.
And it
but
is weird.
David O. Selznick being like one of the original producers of movies
Yeah.
in the golden age of movies. So, Alex,
Yes, Jeff.
what did you think of what did you think of Hugo in 3D?
Well, I wasn't really super excited to see this movie. I was excited because of Martin Scorsese. I'm excited. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So, all the sort of early buzz of like Sacha Baron Cohen playing this sort of wacky, Clouseau-esque French thing. It was sort of odd that it was sort of French, but everybody was just like, you know what? Let's just all be British, because that'll be perfect. No mention of. This could have been shot with French and French subtitles, and it was sort of okay. Well, no, I know it would have been not as probably a good a movie for us and less appeal, but it just sort of was interesting. They were like, yeah, we're in Paris. Oh yeah, everybody's British. Whatever. Gorgeous. The one thing about that, gorgeous. This is 3D, some of the best 3D I've seen. The way that he used the camera movements are amazing. There's some of these sort of one-shot things. They must have built a massive set and some movie magic in there. The whole opening sequence is this amazing one-shot. My only gripe about that one shot specifically was because it was 3D, everything looks CG. It didn't look like, oh my God, we're flying through old Paris. It was like, oh, they did old Paris in computers. But that was sort of the only time that happened. It felt very sort of like green screeny, but it was gorgeous. What they were able to do with that was gorgeous. The story was really moving. My only other little, thing was I thought it was going to be sort of like a magic thing, and it really just is sort of a really heartwarming story about.
Does be even more fantastical.
Yeah, like the thing was gonna get up and be like, hey, what's going on? What's up? Hugo, high five. You know what I mean? Like
Breaking two
why does your
electric
kid-
If this
Hugo.
was made in the 80s, you're talking about the invention.
But I mean, like,
and-
all of the previews are like, why does your key go in the thing? Oh my God. And then it's sort of like, it just does what it does. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, magic doesn't happen. Magic happens in here, and it does happen there. And that's what I want people to know. Magic does happen in here, and in here a little bit. Mostly here. It's a children's story, so nothing here.
So,
So it's great. It's great. I loved it. I was surprised at how immersive it was. I mean, the 3D was really quite amazing, and it was a great story. I mean, it's a family story. I don't think it transcends into, Jeff, you have to see this movie. Oh my God, it's amazing.
you just saw it.
I did.
Okay, I don't think it transcends into Bill, my friend I'm making up right now, because I can't think of any of my other friends' names off the top of my head for whatever reason. You have to see this movie.
Right.
But of family movies, it was a great enjoyment for me. But it's not a Pixar movie where I go, you have to see this movie. As a human being, you have to see this. You know what I mean?
I hear you, yeah. Jeff, it's also a father-son story, of which we are wont to love.
Yes.
Did you love?
I would recommend Bill seeing this movie. I loved this movie.
He totally doesn't know Bill.
No.
I loved this movie. I
Bill likes
think
a lot more breasts in this movie.
it's magic from start to finish. It's magic. It's pure exaltation of cinema and of what the heights of what movies can do. And it is about that, and it is that for me. Like you, I was completely engrossed in the 3D. I was engrossed in every frame. It's a sumptuous movie. It is absolutely stunning, and I wanted to fall into it.
A couple times I felt like I was gonna fall into it. It was amazing.
I loved the setting and the location, the world of this movie more than what happens. We get the question a lot on TRS, what fictional universe would you live in? This is the world. I want to live in that world. I want to live in that train station where
1930s Paris.
Paris, books and salons, and like the old parlor life, and the same people in the location having their cappuccinos, and just it is magic. It's magic, and it's a place I want to be. I was thinking that it's reminiscent of other films, and I for the life of me couldn't come up with any that. But I feel like there are movies that they build a gigantic living set, and it's just alive, and they just shoot all over it. I guess Clue is kind of like that, but not really. And
Terminal,
yeah.
Terminal, yeah. And
actually, oddly similar. This movie is strikingly similar to Terminal.
Yeah.
Huh.
The automaton.
No, it's the same plot.
Yeah.
It's about the same stuff.
I guess so.
I actually.
Well, let me. The
yeah, the FU, Martin Scorsese.
The 3D, it's interesting to have this filmmaker working in 3D. I don't think he could have picked a better subject matter to tackle with 3D. This clockwork inner workings of that tower, of that all the cogs and everything, and we're inside it constantly and moving through it and surrounded by it. It's an incredible experience to feel in that, and it would not be the same experience in 2D. It is completely engrossing.
I was gonna say, the trailers, I was like, why is this so much more enticing, and I want to be in this than the trailer? I saw all those scenes I saw in the trailers, and I realized it was because the 3D, and he uses some very interesting techniques with the 3D, where he's doing slow pushes in, but then also increasing the depth of field or decreasing the depth of field, which was really amazing. So there's a lot of really cool 3D stuff going on.
I agree with you guys about the 3D. It's definitely some of the best 3D after Avatar that we've seen. There's so many the reason why the clocks work so well is because there's so many layers to everything.
Yes.
And the interesting thing is that there's never a shot composed where 3D wasn't the most important aspect of that shot, in terms of oftentimes you see 3D movies and then there's some arbitrary shot. Every shot
look at the reverse, and it's like,
you
don't just get the reverse in 3D. That has to be a 3D frame. Yeah.
Every shot had so many layers.
But it's not just layers of
it's
not just layers of clockwork. It's like smoke and steam and volume.
And
it's
dust.
a voluminous area.
And then being in that set, it felt like we were in that place with the people. I never saw. I don't know why that Lars von Trier Dogville that were it was like a play, but then the set was there.
Yeah, they just shot it as a play.
Yeah, I felt like I was in a play with everyone.
Yeah.
Which I didn't feel that way in numerous other 3D movies.
Like Gosford Park, almost.
Yeah. Well,
That's how they shot that.
Yeah. So that being said, I strangely was unaffected by the story. It was also a strangely written story. In that there was no dramatic goal. There wasn't any what are we after? Every scene after the opening was like, why am I watching this? What is the big, dramatic question?
Yeah.
Other than the subtextual one. The plot didn't have a lot driving it
There were a
forward.
couple times where I was like, he's gonna get away from that guy. Why is that guy even chasing him?
But
You know
even,
what I
yeah,
mean?
but even just the overarching, like, what, I don't know. It felt a little bit like the kind of plot in the movies I don't love. We've talked about this before. Alice in Wonderland, Tron, whatever, where we're just experiencing things. We're just experiencing film history, really, and amazing set pieces and whatever. It's not we're not really on an adventure or a journey. And the performances of those kids were fine, but not spectacular.
Yeah, there was one moment too that really, I was like, ooh, child acty.
They're just and like, I think if there was amazing child performances, that's why I was thinking I was actually thinking I may have enjoyed Terminal more as a movie because the performance and the characters were so strong in that movie, though it's flawed. And this movie, I was never.
Well, the driving.
Emotional.
I think the drive that you're talking about was for him to, find and unlock whatever message was hidden.
But that happened halfway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It happened so early that really what the movie is more
There wasn't
concerned
any
with.
complication with that.
Well, what the movie is more concerned with is the ramifications of that, and the child story is sort of pushed to the side, and we're sort of shown this celebration of cinema and I found that stuff to be absolutely fascinating and engrossing and. I just wanted to live in this place with these people. If they had started that movie again while we were sitting there, I would have wanted to watch it again because I just want to be in that place, in that world with those people at that time. It feels like the music and
it was really live. The band's playing.
The culture,
stuff,
it's beautiful and it's just sumptuous. It's so tactile. I felt like I could breathe that air with that.
Well, interestingly, what I was going to say was that it feels so. I think it was almost too personal, and that it felt like it was his passion for this stuff. Martin Scorsese's passion for this stuff is so personal that he was like, "I love that. You know what? You just got to be there," and we were there.
Yeah.
So I felt it, I experienced it, but I didn't feel the same thing. It was like too personal.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you not like this film?
I just didn't connect with it in an emotional way at all.
Wow,
I
really
connected
did.
it in a sensory way. I didn't connect it. Sorry, something caught in my throat. I'm not getting.
Are you okay? do you need some techno beat music?
Yeah,
I gotta come back.
I just didn't connect with the story,
Interesting.
or the emotions of the characters, but I connected with what it's about and what I was seeing.
Yeah, me too, and that brought me to an emotional
And Ben
place.
Kingsley.
Yeah, he's
I mean, come
great.
on.
He's always so good.
That was awesome.
He's always
Cool.
so good.
Yeah.
I just thought, it felt magical. It felt like a magical experience in the cinema, and I would recommend it to anybody to have that magical
Including
experience.
Bill?
I don't know.
First and foremost,
Bill's
Bill
pretty
has
cynical.
he's had a tough life.
He has a tough life. That Bill.
What does Bill do
Baggins.
again? I can't remember.
He's a bill collector.
Dwarven bill collector.
Dwarven?
I was gonna go with Dwarven Miner.
Where do we meet Bill?
The Dwarven Mine, the drunken Dwarven Mine.
Yeah.
All right.
I like how Dan asks questions.
All right, so
Hugo?
Hugo.
I think Hugh should go. We should have named him Hugh and not Bill. We missed that opportunity.
All right, everybody, be sure to stick around. We're going to be answering one of your Twitter questions right after this. But first, we want to thank our sponsors, Dan Trachtenberg.
That's right, Netflix, y'all. With more than 23 million members, Netflix is the world's largest subscription service. Instantly streaming TV episodes and movies directly into your Xbox 360, Sony PS3, iPad,
iHoles.
Wii, whatever. You know what's great about the instant streaming is they have tons of awesome. I never saw Limitless. Limitless is now out on instant streaming. But I never saw a movie that I heard was bad, Take Me Home Tonight. But it's set in the 80s, and I really want to see it. And that's perfect, you know? And you know what else? Wait.
No.
Perfect. It's a perfect bad movie watching device.
No, it's like you get
He's
to watch
saying that
movies without any.
wouldn't
It's
go
instantly
over,
streaming. I don't need to go to a store to rent
Ease of
that.
use. You may love
You don't
it.
need to be embarrassed.
And you may
Don't yell. You guys are yelling at me.
You may love it!
I'll tell you what,
Netflix.
Insidious, the scariest movie I've ever seen, is on Netflix instant
wanna
streaming.
watch that.
You no longer have any excuses.
Other than it's terrifying.
Other than it will be the scariest moment of your life.
So there's no late fees or due dates, so if it is a terrible movie, you are not penalized further
don't say penalized.
for that experience. So for a limited time, as a new member and TRS viewer, you get a free 30-day trial. Go to netflix.com/TRS and sign up.
Oh, amazing.
Make
All
sure
right,
use that
people.
URL, y'all.
Yeah, use the right URL.
Join us tomorrow for our special Thanksgiving edition of Title Fight.
Today's Twitter question comes from Chris J. King on Twitter. That's where Twitter questions come from. What 80s or 90s family sitcom would you guys have liked to have been a member of? I don't think a member of the cast. I think if that
Member
were
of
a
the
real
family.
family. Yes.
It's an easy answer for me.
Yeah.
Family
Easy.
matters.
No. I really want to be the neighbor there. No, Growing Pains. I grew up really wanting to be Mike Seaver. In fact, to a fault where I didn't do my homework. I like spoke out of turn in class. Like,
Called all your friends
I was
boner.
a rebel. I was a rebel kid because I thought that's what was cool. And I took my mom to say, you know, girls are attracted to guys that are smart. For me to like turn a corner and be
Why
like,
would your mom lie to
maybe
you like
I'm
that?
not- But, and also, you wouldn't have to be dangerously attracted to your sister if I lived in that family. Because she's not really.
It got weird.
Yeah, it did get weird. I'm gonna go.
But if I
I'm
lived in
gonna
Charles
go,
in Charge, I would be very attracted to my sister.
I'm gonna go with the Keatons. I sort of
The
always
Alex
thought.
thing?
Yeah, I always thought because it was like Alex P. Keaton, and then he started showing up in all these awesome movies, and I was like, that's it. Like I was sort of like this like.
Fox shows up in the movies.
No, I know, but I mean that's the thing. I was always like, oh man, those guys seem so cool, and
You would be dangerously attracted to Justin Bateman, though.
Justine Bieber.
I think you guys are missing the obvious answer. The correct answer, Alf. The most fun family ever.
Would be true. Although that guy did seem like an asshole to everybody else.
It kind of was. Or how about Small Wonder? You could have a robot sister.
That is.
Or Land of the Lost. Not that's horrible.
That's horrible.
Or Lost in Space. You could be like in space.
But lost. That's the bad part.
But in space.
Thanks for sending that in, Chris J. King.